Hey there, Hofstra fans. Welcome inside the WB Mason Coach Report right here on GoHofstra.com. Matt Durant, joined by the head coach of the Hofstra softball program, Larissa Anderson. Coach, this past weekend against Penn State, 3 games. The first day, a sweep of the doubleheader, a lot of runs scored. What did you like from your team on Saturday?
I loved the control of the strike zone that we had. We worked unbelievable counts, having 12 walks on that first game. That was very impressive. You know, working great hitters counts, having great command of the strike zone, not chasing the ball out of the zone, putting a lot of pressure on their pitchers to make good pitches, and then when we got great hitters counts, we hit the ball very hard.
7 players on your team registered more than 1 run scored. Just how does it look to have your entire team come together for an offensive win like that?
It shows our potential. You know, I've been saying all year long that we can hit all the way through the lineup, and when we're working on all cylinders, you know, that's what we're capable of doing. You can't expect that every single day. That's not the nature of our sport. I mean, it would be nice, but it just shows that we have that potential to be able to hit all the way through the lineup and have multiple hits, you know, throughout the course of the game.
A lot of players with multiple base hits as well. Excuse me, but you also had Michaela Transu, 4 for 4, 6 RBIs. Just talk about the way she's developed at the plate.
She really has. I mean, she's put in so much time. She really has become a student of the game. She works so hard at her craft. Continually comes in for extra work, you know, before practice, after practice, works on her own, and it's really good to see that it's paying off for her. She really understands what she's capable of doing. You know, a hitter, sometimes they try to do too much and try to create more than they're capable of doing, and she knows her role, and she's really working hard and putting the ball in play, and, you know, every once in a while she hits the ball out of the ballpark.
You saw a lot of her potential last season at the plate. She had a pretty good offensive season, but now it's just night and day. It seems like she's gotten even that much better. Would you credit a lot of that to Elise Fortier?
Absolutely. I mean, they work all the time together, and Michaela's in the office talking about her swing and watches a lot of video on her own, and is continually becoming a student and understanding what she needs to do in order to be successful. She's very driven, and it's great to see that she's getting that production. And Elise has worked very, very well with her.
Now, on the other end of the game on Saturday, not the greatest outing for Jess Peslack, one of the weaker ones we've seen so far this season. What do you think happened with her?
You know, it's hard to say, and I'm gonna have to go back and watch some video and see what she was doing. She threw the ball over the plate a little bit too much, and what's been happening with her and the transition that she has to make when hitters start to get aggressive off of her, she can't throw the same pitch in the same spot. She has to try to get batters to swing at the ball a little bit more out of the zone. And that's the adjustment that she's going to have to make, you know, moving forward. And that carried over into Sunday, where she attacks the zone early, or attacks strikes early in the count, and then the hitters are getting very aggressive off of her, and she has to start, you know, throwing a little bit borderline. And it's okay to go ball 1, ball 2, you know, if she's able to come back and fight through it, if she's going to get them to swing at those borderline pitches.
Game 2, I guess we'll look at the offense first again. Multiple home runs, nearly half a dozen home runs. Where do you think that long ball came from, considering we haven't really seen it all that much this season?
It's working good counts. You know, that's the key. And we went back and we looked at some stats, and when we're hitting early in the count and hitters counts, we're hitting above 400. When we start to get strike 1, strike 2, and we're behind in the count, you know, we're only hitting about 175. So it's really making sure that we're getting those hitters counts and capitalizing when the pitcher is throwing the ball over the heart of the plate.
You're getting a lot of power out of Nikki Michalowski. Did you expect this kind of offensive output from her this season, considering she didn't get much playing time at all last season?
I mean, I'm going to say yes because I recruited her, but you know, at the same time, it's great to get production out of a first-year player. Because first-year players, they've never experienced it at this level, and you know she's just like Michaela, puts in so much extra time and is really driven to be a great player.
In the circle for that second game, you gave Courtney Scarpata the nod excuse me, to start. What did you like in her one of her first starts of the season?
You know, it's because of how she relieved against Peslack. You know, when she came in, Penn State really struggled hitting against her, and her pitch count was low when she relieved. So it's like, you know, let's just keep going, and she'll go as long as she needs to, as long as she's still getting, you know, easy outs, and that's the key. Scarpata's not going to strike out a lot of people. Drop ball pitchers usually don't, especially at the speed that she throws. But she's going to get a lot of ground balls, and as long as they're not squaring up the ball off of her, I'll leave her in as long as I need to.
She had 6 walks still. How do you think you really, I guess, control her control?
It's just continue to put her in those situations where she's so new to this. She did not pitch in the fall. You know, we're really developing her into being a pitcher, and it's just that repetition over and over and over again. So then she becomes comfortable and knows what she needs to do.
Second day on Sunday, you lose the third of the 3-game set. What do you think changed from Saturday to Sunday, where you had such great offensive performances on Saturday and then it was just lacking a little bit Sunday?
Penn State made an unbelievable call in throwing a different pitcher every inning. I mean, if you can't beat a team with one pitcher by disrupting the rhythm, you change the pitching staff. And she made a great adjustment to the point where I would say she outcoached us, because she changed the pitcher every single inning. To have 6 pitchers in your staff, totally give the credit to Penn State, and we just have to make better adjustments. Where it's hard every single inning to have a different pitcher, have to get different timing, have to be able to recognize what are they throwing, and we have to make those adjustments right away, knowing after that third out we're going to see another arm. So we didn't have quality at bats in that aspect, and defensively we made some crucial errors. Michaela had 2 tough errors. One was the overhead catch in left field that I thought it was a pretty tough call, and then another one was a hard hit shot at shortstop that she needs to make that play. We can't have 4 errors in a game, and that really made the difference.
With such a great defensive season last season, what do you think has happened to the defense this season? What do you think changed?
The pitching staff. You know, when you have 2 veteran pitchers with Taylor Perone and Morgan Lashley, the ball wasn't hit that hard. And now with 3 first-year pitchers, there's more balls being put in play, and it puts more pressure on the defense, and especially when we're giving up as many walks as we are. It puts a lot of pressure on the defense, and then when the ball's hit just as hard, if not harder, we got to make sure that we're making more plays and taking that pressure off of our pitching staff.
How do you view a weekend like this, where the last weekend it started off rough, but it ended on a really high note? What do you look at this weekend now, where it started off on a high note, but then it sort of deteriorated as time goes? How do you view the weekend as a whole?
I view it as a conference opponent, where you're facing the same opponent 3 games in a row, which is just like this conference series that's going to come up against Towson. And it's evaluating what do we need to do as a coaching staff to be able to play the same team 3 times in a row. So that's what I'm really evaluating over our game against Penn State.
What's the main takeaway from the weekend with such great offense and then some weak pitching? What do you take away from the weekend?
How I have to make better pitching adjustments. Where, do I go with someone else to start the game in game 3? How do we disrupt Penn State? How do we counteract, being able to have them throw the same pitch or different pitcher every inning? That's what we have to learn from this, and being able to make those adjustments that 3rd game, because it's hard to beat someone 3 times in a row. It is really hard, which is why we have a 3-game series. We won the series, but we have to make sure that we're doing a better job as coaches to prepare our team for that 3rd game.
This has been the WB Mason Coach Report. Matt Durant, Larissa Anderson will be back here next Monday.